good election season.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Ronnie.
And this is Snorkeling with Narwhals.
Today, we've been talking a lot before the show started about who we think is going to become the next president of the United States.
It's a big debate. You know, there have been many worthy and unworthy candidates. Many debates and many controversies.
It's
a very important
slinging
topic.
Mud at each other.
Definitely.
People dropping out.
Yeah.
People getting mad. It's been very, very violent. And we just want to settle it right now so that you know who to vote for. So we are going to transfer into our debate
attire
now. All right, welcome now to the debate for 2016 presidential election.
Yes. My candidate. And I feel so strongly that I'm going...
So we're starting. So, okay, you get 90 seconds for your opening remarks.
All right.
Then there'll be a 20-second cross-examination.
All right.
A 30-second rebuttal for each. And then we'll have a few seconds for closing remarks.
All right.
All right, so...
So I'll start.
Well, the moderator will start you
Erik is our moderator.
Okay, so this first one is for Brian.
Yes.
You have 90 seconds to talk about your candidate. Go.
So, my candidate was a war hero. He fought in the Vietnam War. He fought valiantly against Russian terrorism. He tried to negotiate with them because, sometimes you have to. Maybe. I don't know, I'm not a politician. But he eventually just decided to take them all out on his own. That president, of course, who I guess is the incumbent, is James Marshall. Now, James Marshall was on his plane, Air Force One, when it was hijacked by Russian terrorists. There was one who looked oddly like Gary Oldman, but that's just a coincidence. And what ended up happening was they thought he was dead. They thought either he was dead or that he had escaped the plane. And what was really going on was he was still there. He was still on the plane. Some hostages didn't make it. That was unfortunate. But he saved the great majority of the hostages. He saved his wife. He saved his daughter. And he delivered this campaign's great campaign slogan when he defeated the leading Russian terrorist. Get off my plane. So, here, James Marshall is the candidate to beat in this election.
Your time is up. Thank you. Ronnie, you're up next. You have 90 seconds. Go.
I'm okay. My candidate for the presidential election this year would like to thank you all for coming out and listening, unlike Brian. He forgot to, apparently.
Okay, rat.
But I'd also like to ask you to take the time to vote this year for Josiah Bartlett. Josiah Bartlett is also the incumbent president. Josiah has, unlike his opponent,
Marshall, say his name.
Not worked with terrorists. He has, even in his most darkest times, stood for what America really believes. He is the change that we need, and he is not going to come up with a stupid slogan like "Get off my plane." How about let's save America and make America better for all children, women, and all people for tomorrow, for our descendants. Josiah Bartlett is change you can depend on.
You have 30 seconds.
I got 30 seconds? Wow. Josiah Bartlett's so great that he speaks for himself, and he doesn't even need me to speak for the 30 seconds. So you know what? I will give the 30 seconds back to my opponent to try to save what he is, his shambles of a debate.
You have 15 seconds, Brian.
Has your incumbent ever single-handedly saved a plane of people from terrorists?
Yes.
Single-handedly?
Yes.
Not making a decision, but physically incapacitating them.
Wouldn't you?
Thank you, Ronnie. That is your time.
I'm Brian.
I'd like to cross-examine my opponent now. I would like to point out that by staying on the plane to try to save as many people as possible, he not only put himself at risk, but also the entire United States by placing the President of the United States into the hands of terrorists, where he was then tortured and his children's lives were put in harm's way, so that he was forced to work with terrorists. Now, at the same time, Josiah Bartlett's daughter was also kidnapped by terrorists, and at the same time, when he was going through a similar situation, he did not. I repeat, he did not work with terrorists. Terrorism is a terrible threat to this nation, and that we should stand against it at every point in time. Also, how does being able to take out the bad guys make you a better president? Presidents are supposed to be people who make the decisions that for all of America, not for their own well-being. Putting yourself out there to protect a few people is not what being president is about. Being president is about the greater good, about serving your country behind the desk of the president, behind the podium where you give your speeches, not about kicking butt and taking names.
May I respond? So, you said that James Marshall put America at risk by staying on the plane, which in general I would tend to agree with. However, what you failed to remember or mention is that his entire cabinet discussed the possibility of naming the vice president as the acting president while he was missing. So they had that choice. They had the signatures to do it. They could have done it if they wanted to. They made the decision not to. So he was still president, not really by his own hand. They made the decision that if they made the brave decision to assume that he was still alive and allow him to do the best that he could. Also,
unfortunately, the people will not be voting for cabinet members. They will be voting for president.
Exactly. It was not the president who kept himself as the president. It was the cabinet. So you say that they should have, he should have gotten off the plane. Well, they thought he was dead. They didn't want to take the presidency away from him, even though he was in danger.
Now, that's just stupid. If you assume the president's dead, the next person in line will take responsibility. And the fact that they did not is massive oversight on the part of his cabinet at the time.
On his cabinet.
And he selected those people to be his cabinet, so therefore, ergo, it is his fault.
Also, these Russian terrorists were trying to force the release of their general. He was kind of a radical general, kind of someone you don't want to mess with, and by defeating said terrorists, he prevented this general from taking his command again. So, that is, I would think, the greater good in this situation. Boom.
I think it's time for our closing remarks.
Okay, so you both have 20 seconds for closing remarks. We will start with Brian.
So, in conclusion, which you're never supposed to say in a speech, by the way, James Marshall is the best incumbent president to continue being president in America in 2016. He single-handedly saved his family and America at the same time. So, I will just end with his perfect slogan, "Get off my plane." That's it. That's all I got.
I want to invite you again to make sure that on voting day this year, you go out and cast your vote for Josiah Bartlett, the man who has promised to not only bring a brighter future for us for today, but is also promising a brighter financial and just all-around better future for all Americans for years to come. So I ask you to vote for Josiah Bartlett for America.
I wish we would have heard a little bit about that financial future, but that's for another day. So what did we learn today?
We learned that there's no one who's really perfect for president.
But we do need to know who won this debate. So Erik, who won?
And also, everyone who's watching, comment below.
Yeah, we'll put a poll up.
Put a poll. But who do you think won, Erik?
Thomas Whitmore.
Okay.
I guess that's...
And that's it. I'm done. I think that'll be pretty good.
Yeah.